in the body. So here you have these cells growing and growing and growing, and no ability to stop them. This is why it is essential to take supplements. You're not going to get everything out of your food, including eating the ideal diet. Because the most amount of nutrients you'll ever get out of your food is only 70% of what's in the food. And, you know, if we were back 50 years ago, 80 years ago, and living off of the land and eating organically, and we didn't have all the pollution and all of the emotional stresses we have, that might be good enough. Might be. I doubt it, but it might be. But in today's environment, you absolutely must take supplements because our lives are more strenuous. The air, the food, the water is more contaminated, more polluted. So that's that. So how to clean the body. We gave you what to do to clean the intestinal tract, how to support your blood detoxification. Also along those lines, red clover, burdock root, yellow dot are all great blood purifiers. So you've got that. And we're supporting the detoxification process. The liver, we told you what to do, including the herbs for the liver. In terms of fat, one of the things that you want to do to metabolize fat is you want to bring in iodine, because iodine will nurture the thyroid and speed up the metabolic process. So iodine is essential. Also tyrosine, manganese, chromium, and B6. These are all components that are utilized by the body to build thyroxine and triiodothyronine, the hormone messengers that help to regulate your body. Yes, ma'am.
And you consume those through supplements?
Yes. Yes, you can get those through supplements. And there are companies that make specific products for the thyroid, the adrenals, the liver. Companies like myself and other people do the same. I do not recommend raw glandulars, although you can utilize them. And they have a role. Raw glandulars are good for a quick start. If you're dealing with something and the gland is not functioning properly, you may want to take a look at a raw glandular. Obviously, being that I do a vegetarian thing and everything I do is vegetarian, I'm not an advocate of raw glandulars. And the reason is, no matter how much you desiccate or defat the gland, it's still going to have residual amount of the hormone in it. And the thing you don't want to do is you don't want to train your body to be lazy. When you bring in a laxative, when you bring in a digestive enzyme, when you bring in a hormone, you are literally training your body to be lazy. My belief is give the body what it needs, and the body will manufacture everything it's supposed to manufacture. Okay? So we did the free radicals. Your free radical scavengers, the best scavengers are vitamin A, C, E, and vitamin E is the best of all for the simple reason that vitamin E can give up an electron and stop the process and still be functional. Where some of the other nutrients like pycnogenol was one that's out there as an antioxidant. Grapeseed is another. What happens with these is that once they're utilized, they cease to work. In other words, I've done it, I've given up, I've grabbed all the electrons, or I gave up all the electrons. Now the product is inert. Whereas vitamin E will continue to work as a scavenger. So vitamin E is a wonderful fact. I recommend up to 1,200 units for women, up to 1,000 for men. But if you're going to increase, take a look at what you're taking, because you're probably all around the 200 to 400 IUs based on your supplement. When you go to increase your vitamin E, do it incrementally. And I do believe they still sell a 100 IU formula. And if you can't get the 100 IU, then get the 200 and do it every other day for 10 days. Let your body acclimate to the new level, because if you don't, you will elevate blood pressure. No one ever talks about that, but vitamin E can actually elevate blood pressure, okay, as can stress. Okay, so that ACE, cysteine is another free radical scavenger. the pycnogenol, grapeseed extract. These are things that will all help to slow down the aging process. So I think we pretty much take care of, and also selenium. How can I leave selenium out of the mix? Selenium is absolutely essential, almost up to like 200 micrograms a day, because most supplements do not have selenium, and if they do, there's a very small amount. So you want to look at least bringing in 200 micrograms on a daily basis. Any questions at this point on diet, supplements? Okay. So recapping, we know what to do to change the diet, right? We're going to do more raw foods. If we're doing cooked, we're going to do clean cooked foods. We're going to get rid of all of the things that give off a gas. You know, even after, if you recarpet or repaint in the house, air out the house. Probably the best time to do any of that would be in the fall, when you can get cool air to come in and clean all those gases. No one ever thinks about it, but clean those gases out of the house. In fact, a friend of mine sent me an email that talked about, for now, before you turn on your car, or once you turn on your car, keep the doors open, lower the windows, and don't put on the air conditioner. Because your car is sitting in the sun, and the newer the car it is, the more the fumes, benzene, will be given off because of the upholstery, the paint, the dashboard, and you get in your car, it's a cooker. And so let that air, that chemicalized air, clean out, and then put on your air conditioner and then roll your windows up. Think chemicals. Chemicals are going to be the danger more than anything else. That's why the cleansing, detoxification, and doing everything you can to prevent the chemicals from coming in from the get-go is really the best thing in the world. Viruses. We talked about strengthening the immune system, but here's another thing you can do for viruses. Grapefruit seed extract. Grapefruit seed oil will actually cleave a virus, kill a virus. It inactivates it because it's not alive. It only becomes alive inside a host. But grapefruit seed extract is great, especially if you go travel to another country. You take some with you, you can mix it and wash your food with it. You can even wash your food with bleach. We used to do that. And iodine. Because of our diet, we go to another country, we used to just fill up the sink in the bathroom and take the vegetables we bought, put in our iodine or bleach, and then wash the veggies and then let them drain. Then we could have our salads. So little techniques that you can do. So we cleaned out the colon, we cleaned out the blood, we cleaned out the liver, we're getting rid of fat. So for fat, we talked about iodine for metabolism. One of the first things you'll do when you're cleansing and when you're going on a diet, the first thing you do is lose water. And one of the ways to expedite that is potassium B6. You could use diuretic herbs like uva ursa, hydrangea, parsley, watermelon seed. And in fact, this time of the year is a great time to eat lots of watermelon, organic watermelon. It'll keep you flushing and cleansing. Corn silk tea is another great diuretic. Also, now when it comes to burning fat, we look at again, back to the same thing we did for the liver. Choline, inositol, methionine, lecithin. One of the beautiful things about lecithin is that lecithin actually is an oil. And because it's an oil and a fat, it actually clings to fat and it's water dispersible. So you can urinate fats out of the body. And since we're talking about fats, obviously you want to avoid the trans fats, the hydrogenated fats, that kind of stuff. But you do need fat. All of these no-fat, low-fat diets are horrible. They're unhealthy for the simple reason that energy production in the body is done by a critter called the mitochondria, and that has its own DNA and it lives off of fat. So if you don't have enough fat as fuel, you could be in trouble.